Hello, friends. This past Sunday, we used Psalm 1 as our call to worship. And if you asked me to list a handful of Psalms that any Christian should be very familiar with, or ones that have been particularly impactful in my own life, Psalm 1 would definitely make my list of favorites. We didn't use quite the whole thing during worship, so let me read it now to you. Happy are those who do not follow the advice of the wicked, or take the path that sinners tread, or sit in the seat of scoffers, but their delight is in the law of the Lord, and on his law they meditate day and night. They are like trees planted by streams of water, which yield their fruit in its season, and their leaves do not wither. In all that they do, they prosper. The wicked are not so, but are like chaff that the wind drives away. Therefore the wicked will not stand in the judgment, nor sinners in the congregation of the righteous. For the Lord watches over the way of the righteous, but the way of the wicked will perish. My first thoughts about this passage gravitate to the idea of being like a tree planted by a stream of water. Jennifer and I have hung some flowers up on our back patio, and I've noticed in a couple of weeks that some days I forget to water them, and it's not long before I can look out the back door and they look wilted and the petals are falling off, and I remember I need to water those if they're actually going to do what I hope that they will do. And of course that makes me think too about Jesus' description of living water. It's important for us to plant ourselves near that life-giving, sustaining source of our lives. And we should probably think about the things that keep us near God's love and grace and ways that help us to live fully. It also reminds me of Jesus' teaching in the Gospel of John, comparing himself to the vine and us to the branches, and how important it is to maintain that connection if we are to bear fruit. But as I look over the whole passage of Psalm 1, it's also hard to not notice that it seems to present a choice. The choice of following the wicked and taking that path that sinners tread, the path of sin, and being, in a sense, wicked. Or the choice of planting ourselves near to God, making sure that we are being nourished in God's ways and bearing that fruit that is life-giving to others. And speaking of choices and bearing good fruit, I, of course, think of those fruits of the Spirit again, mentioned in Galatians, which is actually similarly described as a choice. Because before it mentions bearing those sorts of good fruits, it mentions the ways of the world which we could choose instead. It mentions self-indulgence and immorality, but also things like enmities and strife and jealousy and anger and quarrels and dissensions, things that really break down our relationships with other people. By contrast, it says the other choice we can make, the fruit of the Spirit, is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, generosity, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. We might also add the opposites of those fruits to that long list of worldly ways that we sometimes choose. So we could also be unloving and impatient and unkind and self-serving or unfaithful towards others. And all of those are anything but life-giving, anything but sharing good fruit with others. It's, in a way, it's taking life from others. So choices. Psalm 1 doesn't get much into details like Galatians does, but it does clearly highlight the choices we face every day to connect to God and Christ and those life-giving ways and to bear good life-giving fruit for others around us, or to choose something else. I know I sometimes get caught up in the moment, and it's it's hard to be patient, or it's hard to not say something that's unkind. Yet there is a choice, sometimes just to keep my mouth shut and refocus myself on God's presence in the moment. Maybe turn my mind away from some negative thoughts, or to turn off some negative voices that tempt me to go down a darker path, and instead take the choice of finding some inner peace and reconnecting to God's presence there. How would God want me to see this person, or understand this situation, or to step back from it if I need to? Maybe remember the stream that is right beside me and drink a big glass of water from it and see how that changes things, or changes me. I hope you have a wonderful week, but whatever comes, I hope that you do remember that God is near to you. So take care and go in peace. Amen.